Hello again everyone and welcome back to Skyblock News. I'm your host Derailious and today we're going to be going over the Lotus Atoll sneak peek thread. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe. Use code RAIL on the Hypixel store for 5% off your order. And without any further ado, let's get started. So here we are on the Hypixel forums with the Lotus Atoll sneak peek thread. The team writes, "Hello again. Today we'd like to take the time to share a first look at a new island we've been working on for a little while now. The Lotus Atoll is a new fishing island that will be added to the game within the next month or two, bringing with it several new systems and reward vectors unique to the fishing skill. Today we'd like to offer you a first look into some of these new features, and here we have the Lotus Atoll, which looks absolutely beautiful. I love the theme here. It looks really pretty. And there's a new NPC, as you can see. So to begin here with the Lotus Atoll itself, the Lotus Atoll is a latest version fishing island that is home to several interesting species of trophy frog. Upon your arrival, you will be tasked with helping a small group of researchers document the different species of frog present on the island, along with each of the 4 variants: bronze, silver, gold, and diamond. It is also home to a number of lotus sea creatures. As yet another early game fishing island, the Lotus Atoll is intended to ease newer players into trophy fishing, giving them several useful items and sources of trophy chance that will lessen future grind of trophy fishing in other areas, such as the Crimson Isle. I am a very big fan of this. Personally, I think for some people, especially if you're newer to Skyblock, it can kind of be jarring to go from regular fishing over to trophy fishing. This allows the community to bridge that gap way easier, gives a new form of content that I imagine will be easier than regular trophy fishing on the Crimson Isle, ease people into it, and add a new fun activity. Despite being a relatively small island by itself, the Lotus Atoll brings with it a number of new and exciting systems. So let's go over them. So the first major new system is the ship crew. You can persuade NPCs from fishing islands to join your ship crew. Each crewmate has a unique buff, and some might even unlock a new island. It seems like you can have up to 3 ship crewmates. So as you progress through the fishing islands, you may encounter some NPCs who will join your crew under certain conditions. Once they've been recruited, typically by completing a quest for them, crewmates will provide one of 2 possible buffs: a small stat buff, such as +1 treasure chance, and access to an entirely new island, such as the Lotus Atoll. While the Backwater Bayou is unlocked in the Ship Navigator by default, some islands can only be accessed through recruiting certain NPCs into your crew. Both the Lotus Atoll and the Desecrated Shrine will be islands of this nature. The primary reason for this decision is to give us a way to show newer players the core islands with the most important upgrades and introductions. For example, Bayou introduces treasure fishing and upgrades your fishing rod, angler armor, and angler equipment, while simultaneously still allowing us to add smaller scale islands to the game that might only have 1 or 2 quick activities to do on them, such as hunting a specific critter or fishing up a specific sea creature. I really like this system. I think this is very much expandable and modular. I am a big fan of the idea that a new player, maybe they'll get overwhelmed in the far future if there's ever like 20 or 30 fishing islands, and there's only 2 or 3 that are actually super relevant to their core progression. I think it's nice to see players be able to unlock stuff like this one by one. It's going to feel really cool for a new player a year down the line to interact with an NPC on the bayou and then see, oh my gosh, I just unlocked a new island and I didn't know about it. That's going to be a really nice feeling, and I'm happy to see it included here. The second major system is chapters and golden pearls. There's also this image of a frog that seems to be reversed. Very neat. It is no secret that we are currently working on extending Hina's chapter system to other existing islands, such as the Backwater Bayou. It's also worth noting that both the Lotus Atoll and Desecrated Shrine will release complete with their own sets of chapters. Okay, that's very nice to see. When you complete the final chapter of a fishing island, you will receive that island's unique golden pearl. These valuable pearls are a new reward vector unique to the various fishing islands. Pearls from core islands, such as the Backwater Bayou, will always grant +1 fishing level cap, while pearls from islands accessed through the recruiting NPCs, such as the Lotus Atoll, will provide small buffs to certain thematic stats. The atoll, for example, will grant you some trophy chance on account of it being primarily a trophy fishing island. While this may seem quite basic at a glance, it's worth noting the addition of golden pearls creates a lot of design space for the future. For example, consider the following questions. What if some late game areas required you to have a certain amount of golden pearls to enter? What if some late game pets, items, or attributes had perks that scaled with the amount of golden pearls you collected? I really do like this system. I think that Chapters is excellent for introducing players to systems and allowing them to progress through the island and understand everything involved. However, I want to make it clear that I think if they're going to do this, they have to make sure that the chapters that they implement are actually fun and enjoyable. There can't be any flexbone level tasks, you know what I mean? There has to be stuff purely related to the island as a whole. It cannot be go grind XYZ for X amount of hours. You know what I mean? There isn't really a ton of that on Galatea, thankfully. But if they're going to tie together the Golden Pearls so heavily with the chapters, they need to make sure the chapters are good. It's going to make the chapters a lot more relevant for progression. I'm a big fan of this tentatively, although I will have to wait and see until we see this on the Alpha Network, when we see the chapters, how good this ends up being. But for now, I think this is really exciting, and I like the prospect of late game islands having special progression paths associated with the Golden Pearls. So now we have the future plans for the fishing islands. Up next for the fishing skill after the Lotus Atoll's release is the Desecrated Shrine, home to Guardian Slayer. Once that update has released, we plan on taking an extended break from fishing through 2026 as we focus more on latest version combat experiences. Makes sense. They showed off this island, and they're going to be talking about Desecrated Shrine in the future. Once both of those updates are out, they haven't really gone over what they want to do with fishing in the future. I imagine that this means that stuff like Great Glaciate Lake is not happening, however. However, we now have a clear vision for the future of the fishing skill in the form of the systems outlined above, and want to share them with you today in order to gather feedback and help shape your own future suggestions. Okay. I am personally a really big fan of everything I saw here. It seems like they're doing MMO content very, very right for fishing specifically right now. Very much streamlined, linear, but not too linear, with some branching progression as time goes on. Players will only see the core stuff immediately, and they'll have to unlock these separate islands. These other separate islands are a little bit smaller in scope, but will allow the player to experience more niche content. They're setting things up in these earlier islands. The island itself is absolutely beautiful. I don't think anyone can ever talk smack about the Hypixel build team. They do an incredible job. I like the Golden Pearl system. I like that we're getting chapters here. I basically have no complaints other than I want to see this on Alpha pretty much immediately. You know what I mean? Because I'm so excited about it. I think this is good stuff. In fact, I think it's so good that I'm almost a little disappointed that they're not going to keep focusing on it immediately. Although I do understand they want to get some more combat content out there. And for people who care about combat content, you know, I bet they're hoping for that as well. I would love to hear what you guys think about this, though. Leave all of your thoughts down below. Ship crews look great. I think this is going to be the type of thing which in the future is going to get super, super complex. Maybe as we get more and more slots, players will figure out certain combos that work uniquely well together. Who knows? There's a lot they can do with this system, pretty much all of the systems here, and I am excited to see them in game. Wrapping up here, I did not think it would be easy for the Hypixel team to make me genuinely interested in fishing, but I've got to say the new systems seem really exciting and charming, and I am very excited to see them in game. Would love to hear what you think about the update down below. Leave all of your thoughts, and look to the future, fellas. I'll see you then.